Okay, so I'm recording another video. This one covers lots of different subjects, and hopefully it's going to be helpful to people who want to start out in the industry as a bus or coach driver or even a lorry driver. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself and just go from there. So first of all, I've been working in the industry now for 24 years. I started off at the age of 18, straight from school on London buses, driving double-deckers. Did that for about 7 years, and then went on to be a service controller uh, on road on the routes 94, 9 and 13, and also in the garage doing AVL and iBus controlling, which is basically using a quite a sophisticated tracking system on computer screens to control and separate buses. And after that, for the last 15 years, I was a driving instructor teaching people to drive buses in London. And now I'm currently working as a coach driver with my new employer. And it's a little bit different to driving buses, the coach industry, but I mean, you know, it's very similar in some ways, but there are some differences. Right, first of all, let me say that even if you're not intending to be a bus or coach driver, you will gain something from this video, because even if you just drive a car, a lot of what I will say about driving is relevant, and it will help you. My advice to anybody who wants to become a better driver, once you've gained your car driving license, is to gain your motorcycle license and then have a go at driving a full-size bus or lorry. Lorries in some ways are a little bit easier. I suggest you try a bus or a coach. This will make you much more confident behind the wheel of a car. It will make you appreciate what it's like to drive a much larger vehicle on the road. And if you have a few motorcycle lessons or even gain your motorcycle license, it will teach you to be more respectful and aware of motorcyclists. Motorcyclists have the advantage of being, a lot smaller and a lot more nimble, and they should be allowed to use that advantage to get through traffic safely and following the rules. I know a lot of car drivers resent motorcyclists because they can get there quicker than the car drivers can, but that's only fair. I mean, if they want to buy a motorcycle, they ought to be able to overtake stationary traffic and make their way through. So so I'm going to go into a little bit about what it takes to learn to drive a bus or coach. Can I first of all say that if you've got young children, as I said, if they pass their car driving test, I suggest, for a birthday present or a Christmas present or something, you buy them a couple of lessons in a full-size bus or coach once they've turned 18. It will make them safer on the roads. As far as young drivers are concerned, I think one of the things that contributes to the accident rate and certainly poses a risk for them is really, number one, having friends in the car. Because once you've gained your driving license, a lot of people simply don't worry about the standard they're driving anymore. They do as they please. And for young people, when they've got friends in the car, there's a massive sense of pressure to maybe sometimes drive fast or have loud music on in the car, and that's a volatile cocktail. If you've not got a lot of experience and you've got friends in the car and you've got loud music on, by having the loud music on, you've taken away one of your most important senses, your sense of hearing, so you can't hear things going on around you. I always find it astonishing to see people who walk down the road with a set of earphones or headphones on. I think to myself, why would you want to take away your second most valuable sense, your sense of hearing, where you can't hear danger coming? I was never allowed to wear a set of headphones or earphones out on the street when I was a child. I was allowed to use it in my bedroom or use it in the house, but I certainly wasn't allowed to take my Walkman outside. And with young drivers, if they can't hear danger, also when we get into something called cross-coupling, if your sense of hearing is affected, it will also affect your sense of concentration, and that in turn will affect your eyesight. It will affect how you see, how much you see, how far you see. So loud music, friends in the car, that's for a young driver, that's pretty serious, and that as a parent I would discourage that as much as possible. If you're going to learn to drive a car or a coach or a lorry, learn in a good school. I would suggest for those of you who do want to make a career out of driving buses or coaches that you learn with the company that you're going to be working for. Most large bus companies will have a training school, and they will train you to a more thorough standard than private schools. And this is mainly because of money. If you decide to do your license privately, you're not going to want to spend more money than you have to. So a lot of private schools, good schools, will tell you that you need a minimum of around maybe 20 hours to gain a PCB license plus theory training. So 20 hours at £80 an hour works out to about £1,600 plus the cost of materials, etc., etc. Test fees. You're looking at about £2,000 to gain your own license. But really and truly, although you could do it in 20 hours, 20 hours is nothing. To become a private pilot, you need a minimum of 45 hours in a light aircraft. It's flying around the sky where you haven't got lampposts and zebra crossings. Really and truly, in my experience, trainees who spend more time training ultimately, you know, become safer and more aware. And we would spend something in the region of 35 to 45 and sometimes more hours of practical instruction to get them up to test standard. So when you join a big bus company, money isn't really a problem for them. They're going to spend as much as they need to getting you up to their standard. The problem is, if you learn with a private school and then once you gain your license, you crash a bus or a lorry, it's not going to be their bus or lorry because they don't operate bus services or lorries. They just train you. Whereas if you learn with a bus company or a large lorry firm, if you crash one of the vehicles after you pass your test, it's going to be their vehicle because they've trained you and you're driving for them now. So they have an interest in making sure that you're as safe as possible. And sometimes they can overtrain you, but that's a good thing. There's no harm. It's like the difference between microwaving a meal and cooking it on a slow gas burner. You're never going to get as good a result if you microwave it. So more is better in terms of training time.